Thank you, Senator. Senator Duckworth, you are recognized.
Thank you. So there was no rioting in Chicago before ICE was sent in. For the past 2 months, Illinoisans have seen DHS federal agents abusing our communities. President Trump wanted to put our troops in the middle of it. The courts have stopped him so far, and the courts are finding again and again that there is no legal reason for what he is doing. But in his ideal world, Trump wants our professional military to defend unprofessional and abusive federal law enforcement agents. So let me tell you what is happening in Chicago. It is not ICE agents that are being attacked. ICE agents are the ones who tear gas over 24 Chicago police officers. ICE agents are the ones who tear gas toddlers. They are the ones pointing loaded weapons at unarmed bystanders, hauling preschool teachers from daycare in front of their kids, and rappelling from DHS helicopters onto apartment buildings in the dead of night to rip families from their beds and detain them for hours, and then when they go to court, had to admit that they have no basis to file any charges against those people they ripped out of that building in the middle of the night. That is the terror that is happening in Chicago. It is not ICE agents as the victims. It is the civilians of Chicago who are the victims of the ICE agents. Trump claimed that these federal agents need protection. The same agents that a federal judge found repeatedly used excessive force against civilians and lied about it in court because we showed up with footage of them abusing civilians. Trump was ready to throw troops onto the streets of Chicago to protect these violent agents under a vague and unprecedented mission with little realistic guidance for what their experience would actually be like on the ground and the complex decisions that they will face. So let's play this out. What are our troops, tasked with the mission to protect federal agents, supposed to do if they witness an agent throw a child to the ground, like has happened in Chicago? Do our troops intervene and pull the agent off that child? Or do they stand by and do nothing? Trump is forcing our military men and women to make a horrible choice, uphold their loyalty to the Constitution and protect peaceful protesters, or execute questionable orders from the president. Mr. Young, will the department commit to provide legal protection to any Title X service member who intervenes to stop a federal agent from wrongfully harming a civilian? Easy question, yes or no?
Senator, are you asking if the department will defend them? Is that what you're asking?
Yes, with the Department of Defense.
Generally, in those circumstances, Senator, it's the Department of Justice that would provide representation, not necessarily the Department of Defense.
So you're saying the Department of Defense would not commit to providing legal protection to any Title X service members who intervenes to stop a federal agent from wrongfully harming a civilian?
That's not what I said, Senator. What I said is the Department of Justice is the one who provides the representation.
What will the Department of Defense do?
The Department of Defense makes recommendations based on the facts and circumstances of each event as it occurs. That's part of a package.
So you're not committing.
I'm sorry?
You're not committing to support our troops who are under Title X who intervenes to stop a federal agent from wrongfully harming a civilian?
Senator, the presumption is that our troops will act lawfully, and so therefore we would normally work with a troop to
Okay,
help
listen,
make
this
a
is a straightforward
recommendation to the
answer,
Department of
and
Justice.
the fact that it isn't to you is deeply concerning to me. Federal law enforcement agents actually have a legal duty to intervene to prevent a fellow officer from using excessive force. Uniformed service members, on the other hand, have no comparable obligations nor accompanying legal protection if they decide to intervene against a federal agent to protect a civilian. They do so at their own risk. Our troops could be dragged into court and would be on their own to plead their case to a jury, all because their commander-in-chief put them in an unprecedented situation that they don't regularly train for. And if that service member decides not to intervene, what will Americans think when they see someone in uniform who they were taught served and protected them, standing by as a child is harmed by one of Trump's abusive DHS agents, as has happened in Chicago? I fear the day when Americans stop thanking our troops for their service because they're afraid of our troops. We know that this administration is trying to borrow the respected image of the military. Across the country, we've seen DHS agents dressing in camouflage and wielding military-style weapons. They are making it hard for Americans to tell the difference between abusive federal agents and professional troops. General Guillot, what guidance or assurances have you received from DHS or DoD about distinguishing DHS personnel from the military when they're operating in close proximity to one another? And what are you prepared to do to help make that distinction?
Senator, I have not received any guidance or direction to do anything within my authority, though. I can order distinguishing markings on a uniform, or, for instance, replace the name with the last letter, or the first letter of the last name, and a numerical designator. to ensure that we're protecting the military members and we're able to distinguish them from others.
If we fail to draw a bright line between our highly trained troops and lawless federal agents, who, by the way, shot a priest in the head with purple ball after he prayed for them, and they were up on a 3-story building, he raised his hand, prayed for them, turned around, and then they shot him in the head. There was no riot there. He was praying for them. If we fail to draw a bright line between our highly trained troops and lawless federal agents, I fear our public's trust in our military may never recover.
Thank you, Senator.
Go back.